Got the draft.
Double cover up. You don't want to lean on. Who knew I would start the show with a drink bar?
Right.
But you are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, King Ralph, here with the homie and my co-host, the homie Kai. What's popping, bro?
Hey, yo, life is popping. Life is up. All is good in Kai's neighborhood. So I'm happy to be here, man. Welcome back, everyone.
Up to the ceiling. I see what you're doing. But if you want to watch any show, podcast, music video, photo shoots, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fit Boxer. And the show has been brought to you by Fit Boxer. So while you're in the process of looking that information up, make sure you go and you follow all of our socials. There's a lot of them down there on the scrolling by on the ticker on the bottom. But you got at KYNGRALPH. You can find that on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. I'm at an _ for Twitter. Make sure you go and you follow the Facebook page at the He Say She Say channel, all one chunk. He Say She Say, all one chunk. Excuse me. On YouTube, look up J.U.K. Media. And follow us on Instagram as well at J.U.K. Sports Show. Basketball, which is something we're going to talk about today with the big Damian Lillard trade, along with the beginning of the season press conferences. But for unbiased breakdown and analysis, type in at the.houseofhoops on Instagram. Kai's going to get you right.
Yes, sir.
And so, like I alluded to during the intro, Dame was in fact traded over the weekend. I got some of the details here. We got the Bucks getting Dame Lillard. We got the Celtics getting Drew Holiday. We got the Trailblazers getting DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, Tamani Kamara. 2024 first round pick, the 2029 first round pick, their own. Well, I think they're getting. I don't know who the first one is. I know the second one they're getting the Bucks 2029 pick.
Yeah.
And then they got pick swaps with the Bucks from 2028 and 2030. The Suns also getting Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, and Yusuf Nurkic. Was this a win-win for everybody?
I believe so. I believe it was a win-win for everyone. And I would like to start with the main course. Let's talk about a huge balance shift when we look at the Milwaukee Bucks obtaining the services of one Damian Lillard, one of the clutchest players in the NBA, a premier all-star, a superstar player in this league who's held down Portland for many, many years. Now you pair him with a guy in Giannis Antetokounmpo, who at any moment can be the best player in the game. And I believe that makes them extremely, extremely hard to beat, extremely formidable. They were already a formidable team, but they were a former number one seed. Now you add Dame, someone who can shoot from range. That screen and roll game is going to be pretty much unstoppable. This being real, it's going to be unstoppable. The last dynamic duo that I would say that was really unstoppable was LeBron AD duo in the bubble. They complemented each other really well, Ralph. And I'm looking at it from the fact that Giannis, he took a step this offseason. We talked about it in another show, learning from Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. And I think the finite details, and maybe we'll do another show about this, or who we think is going to win the East or who has the upper hand. The finite details is they have Terry Stotts on that coaching staff, which no one's really talking about. Someone who has a familiarity with Dame, and I think that's going to be really, really key there. But focusing on the teams, then you look at Boston, like you said, they get Drew Holiday. What does Drew Holiday bring? Drew Holiday not only brings another guy who can be a ball handler and take the ball out of Jason Tatum's hand and make smart decisions. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, right? He knows the insides and outs of that Bucks organization, a rival in the same conference, as well as he's someone who's won a championship, something that even Al Horford hasn't done in Boston. So I think bringing that championship DNA, that championship pedigree is a win for that organization, a team that's been to the NBA Finals but fell short of the glory. And then you mentioned the Portland Trailblazers. I think that they got a nice haul. They got some young pieces. I believe Robert Williams. So you have a defensive anchor there. I know they have uh, uh, um, they got Aiden as well, correct? Yeah, they have DeAndre Aiden, so now they get some size. He was disgruntled in Phoenix, so now a change of scenery sometimes is the best thing that can happen for you. You get some picks, and you still have Scoot Henderson, right? And you can even move Brogdon and acquire something from that. So I think Portland did good. And then finally, like you said, the Phoenix Suns, Grayson Allen, someone who I think also probably need another change of scenery. At times can be a little bit inconsistent with the shooting, but when he's on, he's on, and he's
Right.
a nice hustle player. So, and you have some other pieces in that package as well. So, like you said, real quick, win-win for all teams involved. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to see the progression of these teams and where they'll end up next year. But that's all I got, and I'll swing it right back to you, man.
Yeah, and I agree with you on a lot of points, man. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think one, what the Bucks got,
Mhm.
if you're gonna trade off players, you at least want to have some type of upgrade. And so, yes, is Dame not the defender that Drew Holiday is? But I think the gap bet- between where Dame is offensively and where Drew Holiday, his advantage on the defensive end, I will take that jump in offense where all I really need Dame is to give me effort.
Mm.
Because now we're gonna play team basketball. We're gonna funnel you in. We got Giannis and Brooke, who are both very competent rim protectors. You got Bobby Portis, who's gonna come in and he's gonna get you an automatic 10 rebounds throughout the game and hustle effort, as well as being the ability to stretch the floor. Now you add Dame, who has his own kind of center of gravity, to pair along with the Giannis. It's gonna be where what he gives on the offensive end, it's just going to overtake his deficiencies on the defensive end. Then you got Drew Holiday. Although he's not the offensive talent that a Dame Lillard is, the team that he's going to, I think he gives them exactly what they need. He's someone that can guard 1 through 3. He's somebody that can guard. I mean that can also create his own bucket while also being able. He's a veteran presence to, which is something that I think that team it was missing. He can run the point, but he can also get his own bucket.
Yeah.
And so I think he gives them exactly what they needed at this point. And then you get the Suns. The Suns get depth. You get Grayson Allen, who's a combo guard, who can hit the three. You get Nasir Little, who's an athletic, big body
Mhm.
wing, while also being able to play a small ball 4. You get Nurkic, who's a big body, like a legit big. So now you can have someone. You could either bring him off the bench or have him be your starter at the 5, who's going to set hard screens, grab boards, and can stretch the floor. So at any point, you can kind of have 5 shooters on the court.
Mm.
Then you got Keon Johnson, who is young, a young wing, who can be mentored by the likes of a D-Book, a Bradley Beal, and a Kevin Durant. So then you go with the Trailblazers. Trailblazers get a little bit of everything, which is the kind of haul that you would want for someone like a Dame. Ayton, Robert Williams, who when he's the only problem with him that we can ever say is he's not on the floor enough. So if he can stay healthy, those two alone are exactly the opposite of what they already have. They already have Anthony Simons. They already got Scoot. They already got who am I think? Shady Sharp.
Yeah.
And so to put those two along this with the likes of those three, if Robert Williams can come back healthy, you could potentially have that's your starting 5.
That's lethal.
Right. And so Chauncey Billups finally gets an opportunity to coach some legit talent and see can he coach them up.
Yep.
And so I'm excited, along with the slew of first round picks. You who knows you can package those along with the Malcolm Brogdon and get other pieces or a legit young piece or something of those along those lines. But I like what everybody was able to get. So next up, we got. I know it's a little early.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to do our Heisman finalists right now, who are your Heisman finalists?
All right. So right now, my Heisman finalists, and I have three. I'm going to go with the quarterback out of Washington State, Cameron Ward. I think that he is a dark horse. He's not really. You don't really see him on the main. Like I call it mainstream Heisman finalists. Heisman finalists. I can't speak today. Tongue twisters, guys. Got to drink some water. But yeah, I'm gonna go with him out of Washington State, man. Ralph, this dude, he's phenomenal. What he's been able to do, passing the football. I believe he's been completing close to like almost 80% of his passes. He's been able to run. He's a dual threat quarterback. Has the legs. When you watch him just on the tape, I'm a big tape guy, right? I don't just like to look at the statistics and just the way that he's able to run for touchdowns. Kind of do a lot for his team. I look at players who are kind of asked to do a lot, and I actually have Cam there as my third. I used to have Shador, but we kind of spoke before the show about the Oregon showing. But one thing with Shador for me, still I have him my five is his lack of Travis Hunter, his lack of Shiloh, his ability to come from behind. He did it against Colorado State. He did it against USC, getting sacked. Jay Feely leaving points on the board. There's just so many different things that he's done in these poise. But I got to give it to Cam. Then at number two, Michael Penix Jr. This dude is, come on, man. You could argue that he's the best player in college football. You really could. 2,000 passing yards I have in front of me, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 75% completion rating. Washington currently is 5-0. So I look at, are you leading your team to 2 victories? They're 2-0 in the conference as well. And this is a competitive conference. So I kind of looked at it like this. Who's the best player or potentially the best player in this conference? Because I feel like you have a lot of teams and a lot of competition in the Pac-12 for once. I still think the defenses are extremely suspect. But hey, that just means that the quarterbacks, they have to continuously throw from the pocket, put up yardage. I think the only thing that I have him as number 2 is because of Caleb Williams' most recent performance. And Michael Penix, they took away I guess you could say the deep ball in the last game that he played. So he had to slice and dice and underneath routes. Well, number 1, I'm going to go with Caleb Williams, man. I know it's probably the cliche pick. And I went back and forth with Penix. I think Penix actually might eclipse him as the season wanes and goes on based off, who performs against who in the matchups, because all these teams are going to get a chance to play each other. But Caleb Williams, that 6 passing touchdown performance, man, it's kind of hard. Like, I think that was like the deciding factor. 6 passing touchdowns. And USC's defense is garbage. I'm sorry. Lincoln Riley, the trend continues. And I'm looking at the fact that we talk about, yes, Shador didn't have Travis Hunter, which is huge, and he didn't have the line and all that. But I will give Caleb some credence he didn't have Zachariah in that game, right? So he's distributing the football, everywhere. His talent is amazing. I think that as the talent, he's the best. And then USC's 5-0, and they're 3-0 in the conference, and he's 21 touchdowns, and he threw his first interception versus Colorado. And I think that he didn't get enough arm on that pass that he threw the thing from. But for me, I think the top 2 route for me is Caleb and Michael Penix Jr. And then that third one, just for me, it can go either or. It could go, like I said, Cam, a Shador, or maybe a Bo Nix, who's actually been playing really well. So that's my 3. I'm curious to hear who you got, man. And if you have anyone from Ohio State, maybe you have a receiver. I don't know, world. We'll find out.
Not yet.
All right.
He hasn't had no type of games like that. He's just been a good old consistent.
Good. Okay. All right.
Mine is really just what yours is. I thought about Bo Nix, but I'm like, bro, you're like 30 years old. So, like,
It don't feel right.
yeah, bro, like, you're a grown man at this point. Like,
age discrimination.
he's my brother's age. And my brother's been out of high school for like 6 years, seven years. Like, come on now. Like, at some point, bro, you should be doing what you're doing if you're 23, 24 years old.
You should know the playbook by now.
Right. I know exactly what you're gonna do. But but I just would flip flop things. For me, because of Washington not having that type of hype the same way that USC did.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give Michael Penix 1.
Okay.
Caleb 2.
Okay.
And then Cam at 3.
I like it.
And I did kind of go back and forth. The one thing that I wasn't 100% sure on was whether or not Washington State,
who they played, or
like Washington State, who they beat, or if they've lost.
Yeah, they didn't lose yet, but they do have some matchups coming up. Excuse me, both them and USC have some matchups. I think they actually play each other too, so that should be fun.
And so, like, that was the only thing for me is why I was like, I'm not 100% sure, because I'm like, I think they are undefeated because they beat Oregon State, which was the one that I wasn't sure about. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with it, man. I think I got those 3, and I'm curious to see what happens with the rest of the season. There's still a lot of season left.
Yep. Okay.
Now, NFL power rankings. You know me, I like to go starter front on bottom, get to the top. So first off,
what you got?
Who we got? Who did I pick? All right. So I started off with the Bucks, man. Defense playing very well, giving up 17 points a game. When you look at their efficiency, I believe they're number 10 in defensive efficiency. So technically, they have a top 10 defense. Baker Mayfield is making some tough throws. Got the offense playing pretty well, and they're at 3-1 right now. So that's what I got at 10. Seattle Seahawks at 9. Amazing offensive weapons. One of the reasons why I have them so low, compared to other teams, and how well that offense is clicking, is the fact that their defense is coming off of a great performance, which is why I put them above the Buccaneers, because I think they have a better offense and their defense is coming off of a great performance.
Okay.
So at 10, I got the Buccaneers, Seahawks at 9.
All right, so guess what? I had the same 2 for the bottom. I had the Bucks at 10 for all the reasons that you mentioned, and I had the Seahawks at 9 for all the reasons that you mentioned. I think they had 11 sacks for the Giants. And Jamal Adams, he got banged up. Geno Smith got banged up, but they were able to beat the Giants. I would have had the Seahawks higher, but the thing is, with all due respect, and you have to play who's in front of you. But the Giants, they're just not a good football team at this point, and that happens. And they have the coaching, but I think when you look at what was it, Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. He shouldn't have been paid a dime of his contract this year because he definitely earned it. And we talked about that. We're like, why are you going to pay him? He never should even really got paid. And so how he's performing, and we talked about it, I think, in terms of quarterbacks, I think most approve. One of these episodes, I was like, on prime time, I'm like, we're going to see what he's made of. But I didn't believe in Danny Dimes. So, yeah, so the Seahawks, I'm going to put them comfortably at 9. So who do you have the next 2, man? So this is where it gets interesting, I think.
So you can shoot off your 8 and your 7. Pause.
Okay, so 8. I'm sticking with a nice flow here. We got the Detroit Lions. I like Detroit. I'm on an eliminator challenge, ladies and gentlemen, on ESPN. I'm 4-0. Thank goodness. Woo! I picked the Lions week 1. I was hitting the dead horse. I was like, hey, the Lions are going to go in the Arrowhead and win. I believed in that team. I'm not sure if Kelsey played that game. I could be wrong. I know Chris Jones going to play that game. Jared Goff, they upset in Arrowhead, but then they also beat the Packers in Lambeau Field, a division rival, in a division where Jordan Love had been playing well. So they had the division win versus a solid Packers team, not great, but solid. And they beat Pat Mahomes and Arrowhead. And they have Jameson Williams coming off suspension. I have him on my fantasy team on my bench, by the way. So, yeah. So, I like the Lions. And then I think for Dolphins as number 7, I think they have the most explosive offense, but their defense is suspect. No Jalen Phillips though last game, and no Jalen Ramsey. So I think once they start getting pieces back, second half, I want to see what that defense is going to be, if it's going to be anything. So we'll find out. All right.
And then so we got my 8 is the same as yours.
Okay.
They've had 12 sacks in the last 2 weeks.
Mm.
And so the one thing that they were kind of struggling with is being able to get to the quarterback, which they picked that up in the last couple of weeks. So I got the Lions playing very well. And I got the Ravens, man. I really wanted to put them a little higher, but that terrible loss to the Colts, I just can't put them any higher right now, although I feel stronger about their chances than some of the other teams that are in front of them. Being able to put those numbers up against a number one defense in Cleveland, regardless of Deshaun Watson playing, he does not play defense. And so at number 6, I got the Kansas City Chiefs coming off of some really good victories, getting back healthy or getting back healthy, as well as signing Chris Jones has got that defense playing rock solid. The only thing, the wide receivers going to have to pick it up in order for them to be able to get higher. We'll see what happens because Mahomes be out there working magic, but that's definitely going to be the weak spot in their team is, can the wide receivers create separation?
Okay.
And so at 6, I got Chiefs, and then the Dolphins I got at 5.
Okay.
High-powered offense. Defense was playing pretty well until last week, and offense was playing pretty well until last week. So I got them at top 5. In a top 5 spot, but you lose by 30. You're lucky I got you that high.
All right. All right. That's not bad. And I also think, so your point, I think also I'm kind of thinking with the Dolphins, I have them at, I think 8. Yeah, I had them at 8. I'm like, the Broncos, like, are they really even a good football team? You let a team put 70. So is it as are the Dolphins that good, or are the Broncos that bad? Right. So, it's interesting, right? And that was your 6 and 5?
Yeah.
So at number 6, don't feel bad about the Ravens. I had the Ravens just out the top 5 at number 6, comfortably at 3-1. And not only did they have a win against the number 1 defense, they did it without Odell Beckham Jr. They did it without Rashad Bateman. They did it without All-Pro left tackle Ronnie Stanley. And then Morgan Moses went to the blue tent in that game. And so Lamar was left without his left tackle, his right tackle. We know J.K. Dobbins is on injured reserve and probably played his last game as a Raven. He's out. So Lamar Jackson, 2 rushing touchdowns. But he had to be the rushing guy. And we see this almost every year now, right? But then he had 2 passing touchdowns. And the pass touchdown he had to Mark Andrews over the 2 defenders in the back of the end zone, completing 80% of his passes. Lamar's getting into that MVP form, and they really picked it up with Justice Hill in the second half as well. I think that, and I've said this before in a previous episode, I think they're going to be a second half team because there's a period of orientation once guys get back. So I got them at number 6 on the outside looking in. On the number 5, and I also said they were also road wins, not just 2-0 in the division. They were also road division wins, and they have to play the Steelers in Heinz Field, so they could be 3-0, which would be crazy. I had the Cowboys at number 5. I think the Cowboys defensively, they're really, really nice, against the Giants, but then they got exposed versus the Cardinals. I think that you can run on them. So I think that once we see them play the 49ers, I think that might have some implications that them not being able to stop the run. But they bounced back nicely with a 38-3 win versus the Pats. But how good are the Pats? But you play who's in front of you, and if you're playing a team that I don't think is good, you need to dominate said team. And they did that. So I got the Ravens Ralph at 6. I got the Cowboys at 5. So
who's your 4 and who's your 3?
All right, so my 4, I'm going to shock the people because they have 4 in their record. They're the 4-0 Eagles. Yes, I have the Eagles at number 4. Something ain't right about the Eagles, man. But you know what? It happens. You have Super Bowl hangover. They didn't win it. But I believe that they are getting some teams' best shot. But they've been penalized a lot, Ralph. Some sloppy plays here or there. But also they've allowed more touchdowns than they've scored. And going into overtime versus the Commanders, I mean, the Eagles, man, it's something that's kind of off kilter for me, but I believe in the talent. But more than talent, has to win games. Once again, like you said, we're doing this based off of recent performances and all that. I just didn't really quite like how they fully looked versus the Commanders, but props to AJ Brown. When they need to get it done, they did get it done, but I put them at 4. I might be a little too low. They probably need to just be in my top 3. But yeah, I'm playing contrarian. And yeah, you said who's my 3?
Yeah.
3 is I got the Bills. So I got the Bills. Josh Allen bounced back since week 1. He's played phenomenal. James Cook, shout out to him. The defense is doing their thing. They're beating the teams in the fashion that need to beat them in front of them. So, and they beat the division rival, the Miami Dolphins. So I got to give the Bills a top 3 spot for me. All right.
And so at you said 4, 3,
yeah.
4. I got the Buffalo Bills. Okay. I just feel like of all the losses of the teams that are above them, I think they have the worst loss, losing to the Jets, getting thrusted into the game after not really expecting to play, and then how bad of a game Josh Allen had.
Good point.
I just think that's a worse loss than the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals. Cowboys I have at 3. So that's why I have them over that. I think that defense is smothering, regardless if they got Trayvon Diggs or not. And I think that the performances before the game and after the game, that loss to the Cardinals, I think that they've shown that they're a top 3 team. Next up, I got the Eagles at 2.
Ooh, Eagles. I got
the Eagles at 2 because they just haven't lost to anybody, although they've had some ugly ones. But they still find a way to get to victory. And so that's why I got the Eagles. I think that the defense is playing stellar. They still have some deficiencies, especially in that back end. But Big Play Slay and young Jalen, they get into it out there. And so I think eventually this is one of those things where you start to have that problem of not when you don't play preseason. You need those preseason reps. I'll tell you somebody that don't need those preseason reps. This number 1 team, the 49ers. He came out, got straight to it, and they've just been dominating the games in which they are in, and that's the reason why I have them at 1. They're clicking on all cylinders. Defense is getting to it, getting stops, creating turnovers. You got Big Play and Christian McCaffrey. Can he stay healthy? We'll see. But you got Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. You got a plethora of weapons, and that boy Brock Purdy is doing his thing.
All right, I like that. So you have the Niners at you have the Eagles at 2 and the Niners at 1?
Yeah.
Okay. So at number 2, I have Ralph's favorite quarterback who's been point shaving for the past 2 weeks, especially with that slide by the goal line. I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, you heard me. I have the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2, the team that we've all been trying to kill off, right? Here's the deal, man. And I ain't going to mention anyone in the press box because I'm tired of hearing about it. But they beat the Jets after the Bills lost to the Jets, and so they avoided the Zach Wilson legacy game. And superstars come up big in star moments, and that's what Pat Mahomes did. That is not Ralph's favorite quarterback, everybody. So we're just going to put that out there, man. That's probably going to be number 1. So, but I call him Brett Favre with the brain when he plays. So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. And that defense is actually underrated at times. Because even in week 1 when they lost, they actually what's his name? Trent McDuffie and all them, they were actually getting to the quarterback and everything. So yeah, but their offense, Andy Reid is finding ways to, even if he doesn't have a Tyreek Hill, he's doing what a good coach is doing. He's scheming guys open, doing different things of that nature. Isaiah Pacheco, man, underrated back. But yeah, they've been point shaving the last 2 weeks, so don't bet on them. And then number 1, I have Bang Bang Niner Gang, as I call them, the San Francisco 49ers, with who I consider right now. He won't win it because they don't believe in running backs. The MVP of the league, Christian McCaffrey, a 4-touchdown performance, man. If you have him in your fantasy points, you can give yourself the trophy right now for this season because he's going to ride you all the way unless he gets injured. They have Brock Purdy. They have Brandon Ayuk. They have the immortal Debo Samuel. And they have the immortal Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and the company. So they look the best. My only concern with some of these teams when they play so great early is, are they peaking too soon, Ralph? So we will find out. And that's what I got. So we agree with number one. See, we came to the agreement. All right.
And so next up, we got NFL Power, not NFL Power Rankings, but we got the Las Vegas Aces versus the Liberty. We're getting the finals matchup that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I'm riding for the Aces.
All right.
Aces red on. Mm-hmm. They wear a lot of black, but I got my Aces red on, but still rocking.
Okay.
Aces in 5.
Oh, yeah. When you said Aces in 5, I thought you were talking about like a sweep or something. Like, wait, what? But then I So you got the Aces, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So you see, Ralph knows how I go. When I start, moving side to side and thinking and everything, it's like, oh, is Kai gonna get cold feet? He's about to go against the grain, But no, man, I respect the Liberty, man. Don't get it twisted. They're a good team. They got the 3-point sniper, Sabrina Ionesco. They got Jonquel Jones, Kayla Thornton, key bench players. They got a streaky shooter, Maureen Johannes, who has been killing the Aces when they play them. But they're both teams, 2-2. This season in the series, if you don't count the Commissioner Cup, but they both won on their home court. So I think that it's going to actually go the distance. But yeah, no, I'm going with the Aces, man. So look, here's the deal, man. The Aces, 3 times in the last 4 years, I think they have the perfect balance, Ralph, of 3-point shooting. They have a tough shot maker, but then if the three's not falling, they can dump it inside to A'ja Wilson. Yeah. That matters, being able to have the balance. And I know you talk about balance a lot, having an interior presence, a back to the basket game, and then having people who can play guard play, but they're not just 3-point shooters. Kelsey Plum, I think she's shooting 38% from 3 this season, and that's like not even like her best, which is scary, right? But she can also get to the cup. And then you have the X factor, in my opinion, is going to be Jackie Young, who's having, I believe, like career highs. She's playing well. I think she's averaging, I had it down, like a career high in points, 18 points per game. She's the sleeping giant because her demeanor as a personality is a very quiet demeanor. Her demeanor fits her game. So I like that. Then, yes, the loss of Candace Parker, it sucks, but you have Kia Stokes, defensive player, an excellent screener, who's filling in to her role. So she's kind of like, dare I say, kind of like the Kevon Looney of the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Right. So she's really good. And then A'ja Clark, 6th Woman of the Year, very good defensive presence. So when you start going down the list of this team, they're really good. And they also swept the Dallas Wings and the Chicago Sky. So I think they're coming in hot, and they're peaking at the right time. I think that anything that they would have to worry about is, Sabrina being their X factor, and Johannes, because Johannes, her being a streaky shooter, she's kind of like that wild card for the Liberty. And they're the only team, the Liberty, that has never won an WNBA championship at all. The last time they made the finals was actually in 2002. So that's when Shaq was dominating the NBA. That is when probably like Nelly would drop Country Grammar or something like that, man. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not dissing. I'm just saying. So they have a lot on their plate, and I think maybe playing underneath that pressure, Ralph, potentially could cause some cold feet. But I'm going to go with the Aces, but I think it's going to go the distance. I'm going to go with the Aces all the way to go the distance and get their next title. So there we go.
Yeah. I say the same, man. I think I agree with you 100%. I think that it's going to be a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's never going to be easy because I think Stewie, Sabrina is a heck of a duo. And you got to go out there. You got to go get it.
Who do you got as the Finals MVP, though? If you were to pick just right now, early Finals MVP. A'ja?
Because if they're going to win, she's going to have to outplay or match Stewie.
Right. All right. I'm gonna go with the sleeper. I'm gonna go with Jackie. I think Jackie might have like a crazy like closeout game and something like that. I don't know. It could be different. So I'm gonna go with Jackie.
For sure. And next up, we got the Pick'ems.
Pick'ems.
Starting off, Maryland versus Ohio State. Who you got?
All right. Lee Corso, can you hand me my Terp head? Not so fast. All right, everyone. So I'm in the Terp head. So if I sound muffled, no. But I'm going with my Maryland Terps, man. I gotta roll with my Terps. We're 5-0. We're going in and we have something to prove versus Ralph's Ohio State Buckeyes. And hey, look, we need to find a way to put a safety over the top, Marvin Harrison. We got to be able to stack the box. I think it's going to be a really it's going to be a tough one for us. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a tough one for us. We're not used to being in this type of position, right? But I think that we're going to show up defensively. I think it's going to be, making plays in the secondary, and I think that we have to get turnovers. I think if we can force Ohio State into some turnovers or into, some turnovers in this game, get some pressure, we have a chance. We need to put ourselves in the best position to win. So I think the defense is also going to have to play a prominent role more than just the offense. Can we keep up with Ohio State's offense? Can we keep up with, them having playmakers, right, on different levels? So I'm going to roll with Maryland in this one, Ralph, real quick. And if we don't win, I think we can cover, though. I really do. So we'll find out.
We already know who I'm rocking with. So next time, we got the Red River rivalry.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it right. Number 12, Oklahoma Sooners versus number 3, Texas. I gotta go Texas, man. I think that it's just gonna be too much. I think that they riding a high right now. That a rivalry of this magnitude, coming off of the way that they manhandled Alabama, I just don't see them losing to this Oklahoma team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm actually with you. I'm rolling with Texas. They're a team that we talked about before the season. I think we both had them as a playoff team or like a sleeper playoff team because hey, you got to win the conference this year, right? So I like Texas. I'm rolling with Texas with you. Texas fight. They're going to play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
All right.
And then your boys is up.
Yes.
Rivalry.
Yes. Bring out Terrell Suggs. Bring out the Bane mask, somewhere at halftime. Road game. We're going to play in Heinz Field. Don't get it twisted, guys. If Kenny Pickett's not playing this game, Mitchell Trubisky. Remember last year? Mitchell Trubisky, he can do some things, and I think he's actually more of a threat than Pickett. Why? Because he's a dual threat quarterback, Ralph. He has legs. He's going to get the ball to his playmakers, right? He knows how to do that. George Pickens is someone who I feel like we should have drafted once again. But I think that the Ravens, they're going to have, I believe, Marcus Williams will actually play this week. I believe he could have played almost last week, but it's like they did like a healthy scratch. They wanted to give him another week, right? I think the Ravens' offense is picking up in their flow, and I think we're getting the Steelers at a bad time. What I mean by that is Mike Tomlin said, some change is going to be made, right? Omar Epps. I call him Omar Epps. So Omar Epps said that there's going to be some changes that could be made. And I think the Steelers are going to come out with something to prove. TJ Watt is always an issue. Remember, we played without Ronnie Stanley. Morgan Moses got injured, so we got to see his status. So we got to keep Lamar clean. And it's always going to be a hit 'em game. I think the Ravens are going to get the win, but it's not going to be easy. And we need to make sure that we continue to put Najee Harris in hell. I know he's been having a slow start to the season despite everything. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, Ralph.
For sure. Then we got Green Bay versus the Raiders.
That's you.
I'm going to take the Raiders. I think that when you look at how well the defense has been playing, if we can create more points, then we'll put ourselves in a position where we can get the victory. And so I think getting Josh Jacobs more involved in the offense after what he was able to do last year, create that dominance and create momentum as far as the running game. And then you'll be able to throw the ball over the top. You got a young quarterback, so give Josh Jacobs the rock and then let the young quarterback make plays at that point. You got Devontae Adams. You got a slew of wide receivers and weapons, while also the defense being able, Max Crosby being able to get after the quarterback is one thing that I think we're going to be able to benefit from, and I think we can eke out a victory. I'm not going to go nothing crazy, but I do think I'm taking the Raiders.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you had a chance to see any of like O'Connell. Is it O'Connell, right? Is it O'Connell or O'Donnell?
Yeah. Aiden O'Connell.
Okay. All right, Aiden O'Connell. What was there anything that you saw from him that you're like, you know what? I like some of the game that he had. Was it like maybe like throws that he made, or maybe his poise? Was there anything that
I think it's his poise, honestly. I think it's his poise,
okay.
mobility, and ability to command the offense.
Okay. Yeah. I like it too, man. Yeah.
Next up, Cowboys and 49ers.
Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one. So I think we'll probably agree with this one. I'm gonna be interested to hear your take. I gotta go with the bang bang Niner gang, man. Why? Because Christian McCaffrey, he's coming in hot, right? He's coming in hot, and we had the Cardinals, and we saw what I think James Conner, right? James Conner, Josh Dobbs, being able to move the ball. Dak has some wheels. Not I said Dak. Excuse me. Purdy doesn't really have that, but they have Deebo Samuel who can kind of function, do run plays, right? Kyle Shanahan, the scheme, and I think what they're going to do, Ralph, is they're going to make sure they run right at. They're going to run right at what's his face, Michael Parsons. Yeah. So if you notice what the Cardinals did, they used their tackles and their tight ends and they ran at his side. That's how you neutralize a pass rusher. Michael Parsons likes to line up all the way in different areas, linebacker at the edge. So if he's lining up at the line of scrimmage, I think Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and all of them guys, they're going to go right at him. And it's going to open up the passing game for Brock Purdy. And then defensively, Dak Prescott will make mistakes. I'm sorry, Dak. And I think the 49ers can get this win. So that's who I got, and I'll swing it back to
you. Right. Next up, we got 3 minutes to talk about post-fight. Charlo loses to Canelo. Canelo, to a lot of people, dominated the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did too. But I think it was more of an inactivity that Charlo had.
Mm.
I think I went into it. The reason why I picked Charlo going into it was I felt like him and his brother are twins. If my brother fights at this weight, I should be able to fight at this weight. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that he was getting hit with shots he couldn't handle. Mm-hmm. But I do think there was it was the inactivity, man. He just wasn't active. He would get in there, throw a couple punches. He would land some. He wasn't really landing nothing that was really like doing too much damage, but he was getting points. And I think in order to be able to defeat Canelo, you're going to have to go out there and outpoint him, if not hurt him in some kind of way. And I think he didn't take risks or take any risks in order to be able to make. They say you got to risk it for the biscuit, but my man was not risking it at all.
Risk it for the biscuit, I like that.
And so I'm like, I agree with Crawford. He went out there and he laid down.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough. And nobody likes that put on their reputation, right? Yeah. Especially when you're going up against someone of the caliber of Canelo Alvarez. And I was going to ask you if you felt that the weight class and the weight had something to do. Well, obviously, it did, but like going in there, the effect of it on the fight. Now that we see it, and his confidence, it was interesting because he seemed not to waver in confidence post-fight, despite the beatdown that he took. But I think it attributes to what you said, Ralph, about him pretty much laying down. So it's like, yeah, he came in, and I think he had a strategy. His strategy was like, I'm not going to take risks. I'm not going to, try to give it. I don't want to say not give it my all per se, but switch up my technique and my approach to this particular fight. And that might have been something that his trainers talked to Charlo about going into the Canelo fight. Canelo is big. If you looked at it, like Canelo was he was almost like sitting there, bro, and just it's like crash test dummy, as we used to say, or the sock. Remember the sock and boppers?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I thought about Canelo and what he was doing to Charlo. So, and then we saw the Terrence Crawford the Twitter thing. That was amusing and intriguing. So that could have been a topic in its own. Because I know we do a lot of does so and so deserve this fight
Right.
thing. But yeah, my reaction was I just think that him and his trainers came in there with the strategy and they just kind of stuck with it. There was nothing, too intriguing and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like if you got in the ring with Crawford, weight wise, okay, but like Crawford, I think, especially after the way he beat up Spence, bro, he's on some stuff right now. So yeah, but yeah. Other than that, the fight was short and sweet. So yeah,
right.
Okay.
Next up, we got our quick hitters, man, to finish up the show. We got who we got over here.
We got some time.
So AP poll was put out. Top 25. Was there?
Oh, froze up. Ralph's gonna come back in on the stream. Got to let it recalibrate. So as we were about to go in, I think he's coming back in. There we go. So yeah, you just kind of froze up a little bit.
Did you hear the topic?
Yeah, AP college football top 25.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree with it or not?
All right. So I actually have in front of me. We got Ohio State made it. So that's top 4. They're undefeated as well. Texas has moved up huge spots. Florida State. Yeah, a lot of 5-0 teams, a lot of Pac-10 teams. I said Pac-10, I'm sorry. A lot of Pac-12 teams. I'm just glad that when I'm looking at this poll, Alabama, they have they're at 4-1. They're down there. Washington State, I think 11 for Alabama was actually solid. I think Ohio State being underneath Texas. Okay, Georgia is clearly still the top dog. So I don't have any issue there. Oregon moving up. Looks like Oregon moved up. They're now number 8. I actually do agree with that. USC moving down. I think they're penalizing USC because of the comeback. So here's the thing. I think USC got tight, Ralph. I think they got tight in terms of like once Colorado started coming back, I think it was more of a show of no, they actually couldn't score on offense at one point. Not just their defense, their offense couldn't score. Like Colorado's like, we're not going to score. So I think that you have to go down based off of that because they're looking at Colorado as, okay, you are a team that got blown out by Oregon at home though.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, Oregon for me has to be ahead of USC just off that strength. And Oregon still continue to play well and Bo Nix continue to play well, even though you said he's like, 37 in college. But
wife and kid.
Yeah. So I think Oregon being ahead of USC is okay. Let me see. Anything else? Drake May, 4-0 North Carolina. It's solid. Do you have any discrepancies on your end?
Honestly, I think it's solid. The only one I disagree with is the Oregon and USC one.
Oregon, USC. So you have USC higher?
USC should be higher. Because okay. Oregon played them at home. USC played them on the road.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I keep thinking yeah, you're right.
At home. Like I get it because they haven't played yet, so they're gonna look at it like, well, you played the same team. One beat them by this one, the other one. But this one, like there's context to it.
Mm-hmm.
This team went out there and said, we're going to beat the brakes off of them and show them that they ain't nothing. And the other team was like, I don't have nothing against them. We're just going to go out there and play a good football game.
Yeah, that clip went viral, bro. Rooted in substance.
Right. Right. And that's the part for me where I'm like, all right, bro, we get it, bro.
Right, the cameras is on.
Right. You over there talking about for clicks, bro. You doing stuff for clicks, cap.
Yeah, you see what Ryan Clark called him out, too. He's like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
But next up, Bill Belichick suffers his worst loss in his career as the game passed him.
Bro, the game has passed him like Brady passed him in ring count. That's how the game passed him, bro. You know what I'm saying? So the game has passed him, man. The Patriot way. I think when you play the Patriots, there used to be a mystique, Ralph. Yeah. There used to be a mystique. You used to prepare a certain way versus the Patriots. I don't think teams prepare the same way against the Patriots. And I think that ever since, we talked about this before the season, when the Bills went in, when the Bills pretty much had 7 straight touchdown drives, versus a Bill Belichick defense that was number 2 in the NFL. And I personally feel like they never recovered from that. Bro, they got a new quarterback, they got a new OC, they got a new Zeke Elliott, you know what I'm saying? Before the game, he's doing all this, and the only team that was eating was his former team. So I mean, like, so Belichick, I don't know what it is, and oh, actually, I do know what it is. His the way he's drafting, right? Yeah. So you remember when it was okay, you get certain guys that can play certain roles and have like, okay, the hardworking guys, I guess you could say the lunch pail guys. The lunch pail guys don't work in the leagues where you have Patrick Mahomes, in the division where you have a Josh Allen, where you have a Tua and a Tyreek Hill. Nah, man, you need some real talent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, and I'll swing it back to you, I do believe that the game has passed Bill Belichick. It happens. It passed Tom Landry long before like we were born. And then they wound up firing him. Like, all right, bro, you've been a coach for like 20 years. And your defense is trash. So we only let you know, man. And I think the New England fans, they're ready for change. But, we'll find out. All right.
I think it's one of those things you got to let him go out on his own, but go out on the shield. But the game has passed him. Okay. Whatever he's doing, something's not working. Mm-hmm. And it's just maybe it's time to just let it go. Because the offense is not clicking. He's a defensive guy, and they're getting blown off the floor, off the field. And it's one of those things where we'll see what happens. I think there's some injuries, but he's also not hitting on those draft picks. He finally hit on Christian Gonzalez and what it would look like, and he ends up getting hurt. He drafted J.C. Jackson. He leaves, so now they get him back. So maybe we'll see. I think it's one of those things where you got to let some of those picks play out. But I think that some of his picks over the last couple of years that was supposed to be major hits or that could have been major hits are just not hitting. And in that offense, who really on that offense does he have that's supposed to be a bona fide star? And like you said, we're in an era where you need stars in order to be able to get those victories.
Well said. Yeah.
And so next up, Anthony Davis was brought up by LeBron James, and he says that Anthony Davis is the face of the Lakers. Do you agree?
I disagree. Respectfully disagree. And I saw KG on Area 21 say he does the NASDAQ up, down, up, down. Yeah, they're hilarious, man. But I actually saw that interview. I think it was with Dave McMenamin. I actually saw it on NBA TV. And I disagree because when people think of the Lakers, right? Well, let me stop. The Lakers, when we think of Lakers, will always be Kobe Bryant. And also, I'm the diehard Kobe Bryant fan. But in terms of just like the team, the roster that's there, people do think of LeBron, and they're looking for LeBron still as like the face is year 21. If he retired, his retirement tour. But AD needs to be that guy. He needs to be the alpha. But I think, Ralph, for me, the only reason why I disagree is because of his inconsistency in the playoffs. And I think there was that stretch during the regular season where he's playing really, really good. Then he got quiet. Then the playoffs started. He would play have 40 points, and then he would be like Eeyore the next game. Right. Like he's on depressants, and he would mentally check out in his eyes on the jump ball. Like I've literally seen him mentally check out, and he'll let a dude named Xavier Tillman work him. So it's like no offense to Xavier Tillman, man. Xavier Tillman, he looked like a grown man, bro. Like
he looked like a grown man when he was a freshman in college.
Bro, man, right? I'm like, bro, you letting Xavier Tillman and people like Kevon Looney look like Nate Thurman against you? I'm like, heck no. So like AD, he just, and I keep waiting for it. And then every time, like last year, people say, oh, it's going to be the MVP season. And he'll play real good and people will talk about it. And I feel like they talk about it in Laker Town. And then he just, at some point, he falls off, Ralph. So for me, depending on what you consider the face, I just don't think he's the face because I think as a Laker, actually as a former Laker fan too, you have to be fully invested in it. And I don't really see that that fervor, just like Giannis has on the East Coast as his what do you call it, adversary, or not even adversary, like counterpart, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious what you think, your quick thoughts on it, but I'd still got to say LeBron is the face. And he's trying to pass the torch. I don't know. Maybe you think differently, bro.
That's really what it is. I ain't gonna be too long on it. Yeah, that's really what it is. Is he wants him to be the dude that is the face, so I can start. I'm getting old, bro. I can't keep going out here and doing everything. You got, at some point you got to take the torch and run with it. And for whatever reason, whether it's health, something mental or whatnot, it's just not working. And it's just not happening. But with a little bit of time we got left, maybe we can squeeze in 2 more, but we're gonna see. Should the Bears tank for Caleb?
I'm gonna let you take the lead on that one, man. That's
no, hell no. Hell no. Like, I don't know, bro. I've watched Caleb, and then I just feel like, not that I don't think that he's going to be a great quarterback next level, but I also had the feeling that Justin Fields is going to be a great quarterback at the next level. And we've watched what has happened with the Bears over the last couple of years. I don't think trading this quarterback to get another quarterback
solve the problem.
It's going to solve the problem. Like, your issues are bigger than that. Like, you can't create a pass rush. You get ran over on defense. And then on top of that, we got Eberflus calling 4th and 1, tied, and you don't go kick the field goal?
Yeah.
Like, I can see if you were losing. Like, all right, we're going to go get this touchdown. Like, or if you're just up, what do we really got to lose? But tied, and you don't kick the field goal?
Yeah, boy.
And then, like, just watching some of the play calling, it's just to watch no design runs happen. They keep trying to make him pass the ball from the pocket. And it's like, get him out the pocket, get him moving around. You finally got to see him move around, and you see what he did. They came up short, but there's other stuff that it's not all his fault. And so I think that there's other things that have to happen before you just give that up. And for me, no, I don't think tanking. And I need to look it up because I also feel like if we gonna feel some way about Justin Fields, we got to look at the thing, the reality of it is Caleb is not a big quarterback.
He's not. He's a big arm, but
if we felt some way about Bryce, or if we felt some way about Kyler, like, he's not that little, but like, he's not a 6'3" quarterback.
Right.
Like, watching him, I would have to see what his measurables are, but he looks about 6 foot, 6'1". But he got an arm. So it's like, you're gonna have to be able to create an offense that works for him. But I feel like the same offense that will work for him will be the same offense that will work for Justin. So you're gonna have to blow up the regime, fire the coach, get a new regime. And that's the part where I'm like, yeah, get Justin out of here, bro. Good. Trade him to the Falcons and then see what they can do with him.
Oh, but you got to get rid of Arthur Smith. But yeah, that's true.
I'm like,
yeah,
I feel like he would fit what they're trying to do down there.
Yeah,
even with Arthur Smith.
Oh, well, Kyle. Yeah, he has Kyle Pitts. They got to find a way to use him though. But
you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London, you got Bijan Robinson, and then Justin Fields.
That's cold. It beats having Desmond Ritter. But,
right.
All right.
But all right, y'all. It was a pleasure. Make sure you follow all of our socials. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you can catch me at KYNGRALPH on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, @_for Twitter. I'm on Threads as well at Ralph K at King Ralph. Follow us on Facebook as well, the He Say She Say all one word channel at J.U.K. Media on YouTube. Make sure you go on there and subscribe. On Instagram, follow our sports page at J.U.K. Sports Show. For unbiased breakdown and analysis, make sure you're going on Instagram as well at the.House of Hoops. Basketball season is starting up. We got Emo Jimmy out here looking like tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. Stuff is heating up, man. We gotta.
Yes.
I can't wait for basketball season. I'm gonna try my hardest to try to get these in-season tournament tickets.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to, but you also go. I'm also gonna try to get myself into one of these Aces finals games too.
NBA, WNBA finals, all
Yeah,
of it.
all that. But thank you all for watching. Black Power.